Hello, folks. Kyle here, Dark 30 Outdoors. Welcome in, welcome in. Looks like I have small water charters in the house. Good to see you, John and Linda. Husker do's and Husker don'ts. I don't know about all that. That's about musky fishing. We'll certainly get into that. I'll let a few minutes roll by to let some folks stroll in. I thought I'd change up the scenery a little bit tonight. Parked in front of my new community tank. This has been a lot of fun. I just set it up maybe three weeks ago. Probably about 3 weeks ago. Got African cichlids in there, and they're crazy. They're pretty crazy. I don't know if they show up on the camera, but they might if I do this. They'll think they're getting fed. You guys being camera shy? Anywho, yeah, we'll get into some do's and some don'ts of musky fishing. And last week I Florida fished some peacock bass, maybe. They'd probably eat what's in here. None of these are very big. I got them kind of as juveniles. So some of them are really, really little. The biggest one in here could probably make a meal out of the 3 smallest ones. So I've been watching that, but so far everything seems pretty cool. But last week when I did my live, at the end, I kind of lost some steam there. I totally forgot to do channel shoutouts. So channel shoutouts are back for this week. So definitely stay tuned to the end. I'm going to get some channel shoutouts thrown in here. But yeah, I'll give it a few minutes, see if some people roll in. I don't know. I might not have any people rolling because I didn't prep for this until really late today. In fact, it was like, I don't know, 35 minutes ago, 40 minutes ago, I threw up the thumbnail and the schedule it here in StreamYard. So I don't know. I might have one person, John, just you and me tonight. People might see it as they're browse around YouTube and they'll pop in. Hopefully that'd be nice. But it completely slipped my mind. I usually try to do it on my early break when I'm working. And I had a crazy day. I had a busy day, and when I wasn't working, I had all kinds of other stuff to worry about. So just kind of a crazy day. I thought I had actually planned to do this particular topic tonight. I just didn't formulate I didn't schedule it and get a thumbnail put up for people to see that I was going to be up on tonight. So fishing truckers in the house, welcome in. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. Good to have you here. Party of 3. Like I said, I'm going to give it a few minutes, have people, see if some more people stroll in and say hellos, howdy do's. Again, it was poor planning on my part, but I don't know. One of these days, I'm going to have my act together. So we'll see. We'll see. How are you guys doing tonight? John, did you guys get out on the lake today? It was hot here. I don't know what you guys have, but boy, I think it was like 84 today, 83, 84 today. It felt hot. It sure felt hot. Absolutely, John. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Love it, man. Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a busy day, but a productive day. A busy, productive day. That's what I've had. It's been good. Oh, John was doing chores today. I guess we can't fish every day, huh? I actually did get out fishing today. In fact, I feel like I'm blocking the tank. I snuck out this morning before work. I got to the lake at 5. What time did I get there? 5:40. Yeah, about 5:35, 5:40, and yeah, the 2 thumbs up. Yeah, I don't know. If I ever do merch, I'm probably gonna have a 2 thumbs up shirt. I don't know. I've been kicking it around in my head. Once I get this logo redesigned, we'll see. We'll see. I might go down that path. But yeah, I got out this morning, a real early trip. I think it was only about an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, and I was busting some saugeye pretty good. And there'll be a video on that coming up. But a lot of them were too small to keep, but I mean, I don't know, catching 12, 13, 14-inch saugeye, it was a good time. I think, I don't know, I busted 7 or 8 of them, and I did get one keeper. I had one that was questionable. Probably could have fudged it, but no, I threw him back. So I just kept the one, and since I only had one fresh fish I went ahead and ate it for lunch. That was my lunch. Couple of saugeye fillets. That was fantastic. We got Snags and Drags Fishing in the house. Welcome in. Good to have you. Oh my goodness. Come on, man. Called a saugeye. It's a crossbreed between a walleye and a sauger. That's what state of Ohio produces and stocks into our reservoirs, and a lot of them flow through the dams and the gates, and they end up in the river systems. The Olentangy River has a good population of them. The Scioto River system is loaded with them, and I'm sure some of them make it down to the Ohio River. So there's that. Y'all ain't got them toothy critters down there, do you? You got alligators and do you guys have gar down there? I wonder if you have gar. That might be the toothy fish that you have in your waters. You've got some pretty exotic fish, wild fish. You guys have got the obviously you got bass fishing galore. And then you've got the peacock bass are pretty awesome. And then I think I've seen people catch cichlids in the canals down there. So that's pretty wild. Yeah, bowfin. And yeah, you've got big gar and you've got bowfin. Okay. I've heard we have bowfin here too. And I've heard a lot of people say that they're really, really fun to catch. I've never caught one. It'd be wild to see one for sure up close. It would be wild for sure to see one up close. Ah, yes, the Mayan cichlids. Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty cool. And then the knife fish, you have those too. That's wild. I'm used to seeing those in an aquarium, and you guys have got them in your canals. Or are they ghost fish? Ghost fish or knife fish? I think they're called knife fish. I don't know. So, yeah. I had me a fresh fish lunch. It was fantastic. They're really good eating. I mean, just like a walleye, and everybody knows walleye and perch are good eating. So that's pretty good. We got M&K Outdoors in the house, Mike and Kaylee. Welcome in. Hello, hello. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. Yes, thank you, Mike. Everybody hit that thumbs up. With 2 of them. I'm always with the 2 thumbs up. Thanks, I appreciate that. We got Unpaved Explorers in the house. Hello, welcome in. Good to have you. Hope you're having a good Wednesday. A 12-pound bowfin. Wow. The clown knife is what they call those. Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. We got Judith and Dan Davis in the house. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have you. I hope you're doing well on this Wednesday. What are we at here? I've rambled and jibber-jabbered here for about 10, 12 minutes. I mean, some of these things could apply to other fish, especially like northern pike or maybe great big walleye, maybe a gar. I don't know. The topic of tonight's live is musky do's and don'ts. And I didn't plan this out, so I'm probably just going to bounce around all over the place. If you saw the thumbnail, and it's a picture of a guy holding a muskie with a vertical hold, and I cropped the guy out because I just grabbed the picture off of Google. So you just see the fish, but you see that it's on a vertical hold, and you know that's kind of displaying the length of the fish. And early in the days of muskie hunting, when the actual muskie diehards were in it, they did that. That was a very popular way to hold a fish, to display a fish, to really accentuate the length of the fish. And as time went on, muskie anglers learned that that's not good for the fish. That can really damage the fish, especially the bigger ones. Their weight can actually do permanent damage to their vertebrae, and never mind their internals that are not designed to be in that position out of water with that extended gravity. They found they were losing a lot of fish, and that was classified as a mishandling deal. So the first don't on our list is don't hold them on a vertical hold like that. Now, some people will do it and still support kind of the weight of the fish, the body of the fish with their hand underneath, and it's kind of an angled vertical hold. And those have been deemed kind of okay in the world of muskie diehards. But just holding it at the mouth and gill plate straight up and down vertical, that's a hard pass. That's a big no-no. That is, don't do that. It is very harmful for the fish. It's kind of like I think bass guys are gravitating toward the to get away from the holding the mouth and that angled hold where you're putting all the fish's weight on its jaw, and it's kind of like a half horizontal hold. That's no good. It might be better to hold bass vertical as opposed to trying for that kind of half horizontal bent thing where their jaw is half hanging out. Yes, that's right. That's right. Muskie is the fish of 10,000 casts. That's what they say, for sure, for sure. Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's probably putting a pretty good jolt on the jaw. There's a lot of things we do to the fish. It's probably not good for them, but muskie guys, we've gotten away from that vertical hold. That's a big no-no. Let's go right into another don't. A big don't is don't go fishing for muskies and targeting them without the proper release tools. That's pretty much number one. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot before you even really get started when you do that. You never want to be in a position where you would like to release a fish, but you can't because it has died, right? Gosh, this table's a little bit sensitive for me touching. You got me bouncing up and down. If you're going to release a fish, you never want it to die. So having the right tools is critical. Don't go fishing without the right release tools. I guess it could be a do. Be sure you've got the right release tools. That starts with a big net with a nice open bag, ideally rubber coated netting. That's going to be the best thing for the fish. If you've at least got a big hoop net, you can net the fish and then keep it in the water and deal with unhooking it. Dealing with unhooking it can be a real problem. They've got a mouth full of teeth. They're razor sharp teeth, and they're mad. They're thrashing around. Most people are going to be taking their time and being really, really, really careful. And that's important. Nobody wants to get hurt, end up having to go to the emergency room for stitches or whatever. The other thing that you're dealing with is musky anglers. When you're targeting muskies, usually you're going to be using heavier equipment, bigger lures, bigger hooks, great big treble hooks. Some lures have got 3 treble hooks on them, and they can be this big. All right, I don't know. You don't want to get one of those jammed into your hand or your arm. So you want. I have heavy duty pliers. They are about 10, 11 inches long, and they're not. I've got one. They're needle nose, but they're not. They're barely. I wouldn't call them needle nose. I call them like pointy nose pliers because, I mean, the end of them is about as thick as my 2 fingers here. So they're heavy duty pliers, and then I've got some that are more traditional style pliers that are real heavy duty. I mean, they're bulky, but when I get them on that hook, I got that hook. I can really muscle that hook out of that fish's mouth. And if the hooks aren't in a place where it's dangerous, like the gills or down near the gut, if it's in the corner of the mouth or in the nose of the mouth, you can really get a hold of those with long pliers and rip them out of there. You want the hooks out, right? I mean, they got a hard bony mouth. As long as the hooks are in the mouth somewhere, you can get them hooks out of there. The hook cutters are for when the hooks are back by the gill plate or down near the throat. That's when you want to get those hook cutters and really try to just cut that. A lot of times people cut the split ring first, just to get the lure out of there, and don't have other hooks to deal with. And then you can go in and kind of cut the rest of the hook out to where it might just have just the one little piece in there. So I covered the net, the needle nose, the net, the heavy duty pliers. I like to have a backup set. I've got 2 sets of pliers on my boat, and then I've got hook cutters. And I don't have backup hook cutters, but I probably should either have that or maybe I'll cut off a piece of pool noodle and attach it to my hook cutters. Should I ever drop them in the water, they're not going to go anywhere. Those are your release tools. That's the basics. You got to have that. Do not go musky fishing unless you've got those things. I mean, you can, but it's a don't. It's ill advised. And when I talk about these things, I am not referencing people that catch muskie that are not targeting muskie. If you're not targeting muskies, you're out there fishing for walleye and you happen to catch one, bass fishing and you happen, that's fine. That's fine. Those people are just going to deal with it the best they can, and that's okay. That's okay. I would never criticize someone for a bycatch as a muskie and they didn't know how to deal with it and they mishandled it and maybe it died. That's just unfortunate, but that's not somebody that went out of their way targeting muskies and then wasn't prepared. That's the don't. I'll tell you, I'm going to lead this into a do, my biggest do, my number one do if you are new to muskie fishing, if you've never muskie fished, if you want to get into muskie fishing, thinking about it, you think it'd be neat to catch a muskie, the number one do is go fishing with somebody that has already muskie fished, somebody that's got that experience. experience is worth its weight in gold. You can research it, you can read about it, you can watch videos on YouTube about it, but to actually be there and experience it and catch on to a lot of those nuances that somebody that's experienced has, you might have questions. You might say, well, why are you doing it like that? And then they can explain it. They'll be like, well, we tried it this way, we tried it this way, we've tried it a dozen different ways. This is why we do it, because all these other things. If you're watching it on YouTube, a lot of times they're not going to take the time to explain all those things, those little nuances. We've got Russell in the house. Welcome in. Welcome in, Russell. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. You like the fish grippers, like a boga grip to assist with holding the fish? Absolutely. That's fine. And Judith and Dan Davis said, what about using a cradle for muskie? Cradles are okay. I'm not anti-cradle, but most muskie diehards have gotten away from cradles because they kind of found that a cradle, while it does do well to take care of the fish, they're not very user-friendly. They're kind of a lot of work to get in the water and get in an appropriate position and try to get this fish that is fighting wildly to end up in that cradle. It's not real practical. It's fine for the fish, and if somebody prefers to use a cradle, no, I don't think anybody's going to criticize them. It's just not the most user-friendly, practical way to go about it. Yeah, belly flopping them into the boat. You bet. Daddy Duck 365's in the house. Matt, good to see you. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. I presume you just wolfed down your dinner. It's usually the case. Yeah, Russell, I'm going to come back to your comment. I'll go ahead and put that up. You asked about or you mentioned it, the boga grips. I'm going to throw out number 3, don't. I don't know if I should even be counting them or keeping track, but the number 3 don't is use a fish gripper that does not have a spinning head. And that is because muskie are so big and heavy and powerful and forceful that when you lift them up with a fish gripper and it doesn't have a rotating head, when they go to shake their head violently, you can rip a massive hole in their mouth, or they'll rip a massive hole in their mouth, or they'll break their jaw. Whereas if it spins, it has that give, then they're thrash around, maybe spin around a couple times, and you can kind of regain control of that fish, and it hasn't damaged itself, hasn't tore up its mouth. So if you use a boga grip, definitely use one that's got a rotating head. You've busy work day for Matt. So yeah, that's a big don't. Don't use a fish gripper that does not have a revolving or rotating head to it, because those can be really damaging for the fish. What else? Where was I before I got into the cradles? And then someone asked about Russell mentioned the boga grips. I had talked about a do go with somebody that has done it before, because that can help you learn those nuances. There's a tremendous learning curve when it comes to muskie fishing, and going with someone that's been there and done that, and knows those nuances, understands the different ways to get those lures to work. Seems like every jerkbait has a specific cadence that'll get it to do what it's supposed to do. Same with gliders. I tend to lean more toward gliders than traditional jerkbaits. The traditional musky jerkbaits will go up, down, left, right, up, all around, and I feel like I have no idea what I'm doing when I try to work those. So I should probably book a guide and say, hey, show me a jerkbait. not a glider, it's actual jerkbait, but I don't know. I mean, I've fished with husky jerks for bass for decades, and it seems just fine. But those weirdo big musky jerks, I never feel like I'm working them right. Or maybe I am, and it just feels different and off. Gliders, there's a rhythmic cadence to it. And once you get it down, you kind of got it down. And then the trick, if you will, with a glider is once you've got that rhythmic cadence down as you're bringing that thing in, pause. And then get right back into the cadence. Or give it a whop whop. Breaking that cadence a lot of times will trigger that fish, and it feels unnatural to do it. So it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of experience, a little bit of playing around with it. And if you weren't on the water with someone, they might not take the time to explain that and show you exactly what they mean. So again, that goes back to that do. The number one do is go with somebody that has musky fished before. It would help you tremendously. We talk about the learning curve when it comes to musky fishing, and it's a thing. It's a thing. Almost nobody sets out on the water their first time musky fishing, and they know it all. They know how to work every style of bait, and they understand exactly how to work those baits and where, and all those little nuances. It all plays a factor. Having the right gear, the right equipment, there's a little bit of trial and error with that. Going with somebody and seeing what they got and understanding why. They might tell you, hey, I had this and I had that, and I get, I had to upgrade. I wish somebody would have told me to buy this first, because then I wouldn't have had to worry about it. What else? What else is do's and don'ts when it comes to musky fishing? The obvious don't is don't put your hand in their mouth. A less obvious don't is don't put your hand on top of their mouth. Okay, you might think that you're going to grip them from down below and up above, and you'll be safe. Well, guess what? Their teeth on their lower jaw go through the skin of their upper jaw and right into your thumb. Ask me how I know. I've done it before. I've done it before. I've had them get me. I've learned this will go back to another do. Do learn the proper hold for a muskie. And it's kind of a slick thing, and it doesn't feel natural, but once you do it a few times, you'll really catch on. There's a groove on the lower lip on the outside of the gill plate that kind of comes right up to their chin, right? It's a nice little groove that you can put your fingers in, right? Problem with that is if you put your fingers in there, you really got nowhere to go with your thumb. So the better move is to put your thumb in that groove. You put your thumb in that groove. Now you can put your fingers right up on the underneath side of the gill plate and press against it. And that you can get a firm grip on that fish's head, essentially, and then support its body and lift it up, and you're holding it like that. And if it wants to shake its head and thrash, you really have solid control of it. It really should not. A lot of times it calms them down, and they won't do that. But if they do kind of thrash or shake, you got a good solid hold on them. We got Off the Hook Outdoors is in the house. He knows the do's and don'ts of musky fishing. He's been there and done that. He's got experience in that world. I'm sure he can relate to a lot of the things that I'm talking about. I told him the number one do is go musky fishing with somebody that's done it before. If you're new, if you're a beginner, if you're curious, if you want to try it, definitely go with somebody that's musky fished before. That will help you with that learning curve. A large jagfish. No, I don't need to catch a stingray. That's another critter I guess you get a hold of, and it's like, where are the really long pliers? I don't want to deal with this thing. We got Freezer Bound Outdoors in the house. Welcome in. Good to see you. And I need to message you on Facebook because it's looking like I'm gonna make it over to the rendezvous, the YouTube rendezvous on Saturday. Probably gonna be leaving early Saturday morning. Anyway, we'll get to that. I'm sure I can look you up on Facebook and get a message over to you. So what else? Let's see. A simple don't is don't change lures when you're casting and fail to adjust your reel tension knob. That's a big no-no. You go from a lighter lure to a little bit heavier lure, and you rip it, and you're going to backlash, and you're probably going to send that lure, to the other side of the lake. That's a don't. Subtle little don't right there for you. A simple little don't is if you've got a lot of surface weeds, don't troll with your rod tips out of the water. The line is going to collect the surface weeds. They're going to go right on down the line, a lot of times right across your leader and right to your lure, and it's going to foul your lure, and it's not going to run right if you're trolling. Now, you can use trolling leaders that have a tag that is designed to catch that weed before it gets down to the lure, and that helps. But if it's a strand of weed that's 12 or 15 inches long and it's dangling down their line right in front of your lure, that's not a good look. You must be coming up following your lure. They're going to be like, oh no, there's something wrong with that. So absolutely, Russell. Absolutely. Having someone show you exactly how to handle that fish is worth its weight in gold. Because a lot of fish that die in the summertime, it's been said it's hot water. It's been said it's mishandling. And, truth be told, in a lot of instances, it is mishandling. It is mishandling. People know that those fish have a mouthful of razor sharp teeth and they don't want to get cut or bit. So they're really, really ginger. They're really, really reluctant to get down in there and deal with the fish. And then they don't know how to hold it. They might take 3, 4, 5 minutes just trying to pick the thing up out of the water. Then if they're holding it wrong, they might drop it in the bottom of the boat. Now it's flopping around in the bottom of the boat and its slime is coming off. And all of these things are bad handling. Don't drop a muskie in the bottom of your boat. Please, 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 please avoid that at all costs if you can. In fact, I'll give you an example. I watched a video clip of Joe Thomas, a former offensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, was fishing on a Ohio lake with a guide, and they caught a really big muskie. I believe it was a 48-inch muskie. And the guide, from what I could see in the show, didn't give him any instruction on how to deal with the fish, how to hold the fish, how to deal with it, anything. So he just grabbed it however he felt to grab it, and he picked it up. And within 10 seconds, it flops right out of his hand. And that's not because it was a big, heavy fish that an NFL football player couldn't handle. It's because he wasn't given the proper instruction on how to hold it. So we got 5-0 trappers in the house. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you. I hope you're having a good Wednesday. Thanks for popping in. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah. Now, as a general rule, we don't keep muskies. We put them back. Now, there's obviously instances where keeping a muskie is perfectly fine. If it does get badly hooked in the gills and it's bleeding and if it dies on you, those things happen. You keep the fish and eat it. I've never ate one. I know their Y bones are really tough to deal with. A lot of people will chop them up and put them in a smoker. Do like fish cubes as opposed to fillets. Fish cubes are chunks. And I've heard that it is pretty good eating, pretty tasty. I don't know. We got Mark Schwieterman in the house. That's right. That's exactly right, Mark. I was saying that hold earlier. You stick the thumb in that groove, and it's like underneath its chin area, and then you stick your fingers up against the inside of the gill plate, and you can really support it with that hold. Whack it. Russell asks, what leader material do I use on my glide baits? I use a heavy fluoro, usually 130-pound fluoro. I find that stiff enough. Anytime I'm casting, that's what I use. And it's usually I think it's usually a 12-inch. It's a 12-inch or I don't think it's longer than that. I was going to say I might have a 15 or an 18-inch, but I think they're all 12-inch, my fluoros, my heavy fluoro leaders. That's all my casting. Glide baits, bucktails. I don't switch out. I've got I switched for my trolling, at least for my trolling specific rods. It's probably anytime I'm trolling, I'm going to go to these. I made my own 3-foot long leaders. Some of them are 40 inches, but I made those out of 100-pound monofilament, and that's because I watched videos from Salt Strong on YouTube where they did a lot of testing with like a little apparatus measuring abrasion resistance, and the mono defeated the fluoro every single time for both abrasion resistance and strength. So, and I know that mono has some stretchability, flexibility, stretchability, and it has some stretch and some give to it. So with running heavy braid, I felt I need a shock absorber there at the end, just to kind of take some of that. I think it's going to help. I'm convinced it's going to help. Biggest fish I ever caught was a catfish, and it wasn't even that big. I don't like to eat. You like stream fishing for trout? Yeah, absolutely. Stream fishing for trout has its own nuances too. See, I think if I was going to do that, I would want to do my number one do for muskie, and that's go with somebody that has experience with that. In Ohio, our best trout fishing is probably the steelhead up in the Lake Erie tributaries. I don't know the first thing about fishing for steelhead. So if I was going to do that and target steelhead, I would want to go with somebody, either a guide or at least somebody that's got experience doing that. And then that would help with the learning curve, right? There's probably a lot of do's and don'ts with steelhead too. But do use a leader. Do use a leader. These fish do have pretty wicked teeth. I just got done mentioning that I use fluoro leader for when I'm casting, and last year I had a relatively small muskie. I think it was a 30 or 31 incher that I caught up at Lake Milton. Put a nasty nick in one of my 12-inch fluoro leaders, and that's a 130-pound leader. I instantly took that leader off. That's no good. Don't fish a leader if it's nicked. That's another thing. Or at least a non-wire leader. you see a nick in that leader, then nix it. Nix it. I'm making my own now, so they're cheap enough that I don't really fret about it. But last year, I mean, I had bought that floral leader and paid pretty good money for it, but I saw that big nick in it, big chunk in it, gnash in it, and I was like, nope, that's defective now. Okay. Russell says the Y bones aren't that hard to deal with once you've done it a few times. Okay. I know a lot of people eat pike, absolutely. And I've heard it's pretty good eating, especially like the hammer handles or the smaller, maybe people are, I don't know. Maybe the big ones are good eating too. I have no idea. I've never ate pike. But I'll go back to the don't keep muskies. I'd keep a muskie if it died on me. I'd keep a muskie if it was a trophy and I wanted to mount it. I mean, I go back and forth on that in my head. What I pay for a replica, it's a whole lot more expensive. Where I just keep the fish and get it mounted. In Ohio, there's so much pressure on our muskies. It's really, really hard to get a muskie to a trophy size. I know in my heart of hearts I wouldn't keep anything under 47 inches. It would not be difficult for me to release a 46-inch muskie. I don't think I'd even think about it. But 47, I'm definitely thinking about it. 48, I would maul it heavily. And then anything bigger than that would be something to think about. If I got really good video footage of it and I got some really good pictures of it and fish seemed like it was in good shape and it could swim off strong, I would release it. I would release a trophy fish, 47, 48, 49, under those circumstances. But if anybody else wants to keep it, I don't bequeath anybody that wants to keep a trophy fish. But I hope they're treating it as a trophy fish. They're going to take it and get it mounted, celebrate that fish. I hope they're not going to say, well, I tried to clean it and the Y bones, I didn't know about that, and so I just threw it out. It's no good. Don't do that. That's a don't. Oh, boy. Married to the Carolina girl for 33 years. That's fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, boy. I have a video on making my musky trolling leaders. We could refer back to that. I don't remember if I want to say they're 150-pound snaps, and they're not duo snaps, but they're easy clip snap. I can't remember. And I can't remember the size either. And I didn't tie knots. I used crimps. I got a crimp tool and I crimped them. And I got the 15 millimeter one, so they're double crimped at both ends. I tested them, and I mean they're holding up to over 55 pounds of pressure. I don't know if I'm ever going to encounter a muskie that's 55 pounds. Now, if I was going to go to Canada or Wisconsin, can't go to Canada right now, but Wisconsin, Minnesota, places where maybe even Lake St. Clair, where tangling with a muskie that's 50, 53, 54 plus is a possibility, then I might go and buy some trolling leaders or some upgraded stuff. But for Ohio, for around here, I'm pretty confident they're gonna hold up to big fish, because it's just I had to work really hard to to get them to fail. They're really, really, really hard to get them to fail. And again, making them with mono, it's got a little bit of that stretch to it. It's got some give to it. I just don't think they'll fail. And with their abrasion resistance, even if they get a nick in them, I believe they're going to hold up better than the floral. So I feel good about it. I feel good about it. Yeah, Mark Schwieterman says just make a replica of the fish. And I don't know. In most instances, I lean that way. But I just know that if I caught a special fish, 4-footer, bigger, 50, it would cross my mind. I'd be thinking heavily about it. But like I said, if it was a situation where I had the cameras rolling, I got good pictures, and the fish is strong, I'd probably send it on its way. I probably would. I've got a lot to relive that memory by, as opposed to just a photograph. That would help. That would help. I don't know. Maybe I'd release every musky I've ever caught. I personally haven't had one die on me, so I haven't had to keep one to eat it, and I haven't caught a special fish. I've caught a 40. My biggest to date is a 44, and that's a fine fish, but it's not a special fish in the world of musky angling. So, I've never been confronted with a great big muskie, laying in my net. 4-footer, 50-inch, 52-inch. I don't know. We got Railroader Outdoors and More is in the house. We're talking musky fishing do's and don'ts. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hope you're doing fine on this Wednesday evening, Scott. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. What else? What else could I say as a do's and don'ts for musky fishing? Do buy every color of your favorite lure. Actually, a better do is to understand your local waters. Are you fishing Canada? Are you fishing Michigan? Are you fishing Illinois, Ohio, West Virginia, New York, Pennsylvania? Here in Ohio, our waters are mostly stained, and I like lures that have chartreuse, orange, or both. That's what I like. I'd say 90% of my lures, my musky lures, have those colors. And it's probably 80% of all my lures for anything. Crappies, bass, you name it. Sawguys, chartreuse and orange, or both for our stained waters. That just seems to work well for me. I've run white, I've run black, I've run shad colors, I've run crappie. I'm not saying those don't work here in Ohio. I just don't have a lot of success on those things. Poor man lobster on a pike. I'm sure that could be done. I'm sure it could be done. Gotta have access to pike. We got Frontier Survival in the house. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to have you. Hope you're doing well this evening. welcome in. What else? Another big don't is don't fish hot water. And most musky diehards define hot water as 80 degrees surface temperatures and above. Now, I've done it, especially right when the reservoirs hit that mark, because that's at the surface. But it's not. You're still going to have some dissolved oxygen. The biggest thing with hot water is your lake, your reservoir can have a lack of dissolved oxygen, and if that's the case, you have a very small window of that fish's chance for survival after having been caught. They get a tremendous buildup of lactic acid, and if they can't get to oxygen, they can't remedy that, and it becomes toxic to them, and they die. Delayed mortality is a major thing. I've got a video about delayed mortality for musky fishing, so if you want, you can watch that. But either don't fish hot water, or you got to be super, super, super on point. If you are fishing hot water, don't long line troll, don't pull bait fish right off the thermocline. Don't do those things. It's hard on the fish. It's just don't do those things. We got the Beast in the house. Welcome in. Hope you're having a good Wednesday evening. I fished Caesar's Creek for the first time last fall, and I did not boat a muskie, but I was casting the entire day. It was like one of the few times in my life that I casted for an entire day, and I raised 3 fish. I had 3 follows that day. It was a pretty good trip. I've got a video for that too. Fall Caesar Creek, fall muskie hunt. But that was my first time ever down to that lake, so it's a beautiful lake. I definitely want to get down there this year, ideally before fall. But if I don't go before the fall, I'll probably go down again for the fall. Food poisoning from Domino's. Yeah, it's a beautiful lake, man. All the structure and the downed wood and the tree stumps and the depth. I couldn't believe the depth. I think I might have seen 80 foot in some places. That lake has got some depth, man. It's a neat lake for sure. It's a neat lake for sure. Beer batter pike. Yum. Yum. 2 thumbs up for that. Oh, goodness sakes. I don't know what else. I don't know what else I have for do's and don'ts for musky fishing. I think I've covered just about everything there is. And I've tried to answer you guys' questions. If I missed anything, I do apologize. But gosh, what else? What else? I'm probably forgetting some stuff. Do use a leader. Make sure you got your right release tools. Don't fish hot water. Do fish with a buddy if you can. Even for us experienced musky diehards, man, once you're hooked up and dealing with that and other lines and your boat and other boats and netting the fish and handling the fish, It's a lot. It's a lot. If you can help it, track down a buddy like Scott and make him go with you. Yeah, don't. It just makes it easier. It's just easier to deal with the fish in the boat when you got a buddy. That's about all I got for the musky fishing do's and don'ts. I don't know if I have any other do's and don'ts for any other type of fishing, but don't backlash when you're bass fishing from a kayak on a creek or a river and send your bait into the woods. You're never going to see it again. It really can. I mean, nothing else, it can be a safety issue. Imagine you're trying to get a muskie unhooked and it buries a treble hook into your hand. Now you got to deal with a thrashing fish, a hook in your hand, and there's no one around to help you. Sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Just a nightmare. I do it. I fish alone a lot. It's not always easy to coordinate schedules. So, you gotta reach out to your buddies and say, hey, when is your day off? When are you available? When can you go to the lake? Let's plan a trip together. Do use the Muskie Hunter app for feeding times. It's weirdly accurate. That's good advice to Beast. That's really good advice to Beast. I do use moon times to try to get a better idea of feeding windows, and I use the app from Joe Bucher Outdoors. I like his app because when I go into the section for moon information, it gives me that for the central and for the eastern and for the northern, or it kind of breaks down all the different regions, and it gives me sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, moon overhead, and moon underfoot. It gives me all of that information, and it also does it for the whole month, I believe, that you're in. If you outside of the month that you're in, it'll show you moon phases, but it won't give you all that other data. But like, we're in May, so I can go into that app. I can look up any day in May from today on and find out all that information: sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset, moon overhead, and moon underfoot. We got James Kohler in the house. Welcome. You listen to the 360 podcast. Sometimes I'll see whatever the topic is that they're jibber jabbering about. Sometimes I'll tune in. I've listened to a few of them. Absolutely. Yeah, the Beast. I mentioned that kind of half-cocked bass hole that guys like to do, where they're putting all that strain on the jaw. But John from Smallwater Charters was saying his buddy gives him pretty wicked hook set, and that's got to be quite the jolt to the fish's jaw too. Sorry, 30 fan fishing tournament. I challenged my uncle today to a one-on-one sawguy fishing tournament at Allen Creek Monday. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. We've been back and forth about it, but I've done a few tournaments, but not a whole lot. I think I've done 3 crappie tournaments and 2 catfish tournaments, and that might be it. I've never done a bass tournament. I've never done a muskie tournament. I've been tempted to get in a muskie tournament. I don't know that I'm ready quite yet, but another couple years under my belt, I'll probably jump in on a muskie tournament. I'm still kind of getting there, you know. I'm not a beginner, but I'm not a seasoned pro either. Oh my gosh, don't get me started on Muskies Inc. Don't join Muskies Inc. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. If I'll leave that up to the individual. I'll leave that up to the individual. I don't know. I haven't always seen the best things out of Muskies Inc. Points, competition, honor system, handling. Yeah. Yeah, I'll eventually probably jump into doing some open club tournaments. I don't know if I'm going to get into a club and compete for the points and all that. I just don't think that's me. But a club tournament on a lake that I know fairly well might be fun if it's an open tournament. I don't know. If I go the tournament route for muskies, that's probably what I'll do. I don't ever see me joining the PMTT. I'm not in that class. Those are some elite muskie fishermen. They've honed their skills for years and years and years. I have muskie fished part time, meaning like one trip to 6 trips since I was probably 21. Call it 25 years. In 25 years, I didn't have a boat of my own except for like 2 years when I was 21, and I didn't know what I was doing. I muskie fished a little bit, but I might have caught 3 muskies in 2 summers. I just didn't know the ropes. And then it was just going with somebody that had a boat, somebody else that had a boat, and coordinating schedules. It was just hard to go a lot. And then I finally got my own boat. This is year 3 with my boat, or year 4? This is my 3rd full year with owning my own boat and being able to pursue them full time. Like last year, I got out and targeted muskies 21 times. So that was pretty good. Having your own boat, and you can affords me the opportunity to do that. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it, Matt. Have a good night. So you really want to up your odds. Do get a boat. That helps tremendously, especially in the summertime. Do get a boat. That's really all I got for you, folks. But last week I missed out on the channel shout-outs. I'm not going to miss out on the channel shout-outs this week. Up first. God, I keep bumping this table. It really rattles things. Up first is the field guide. If you do not have the field guide, you should really get subscribed to Irene's channel, the field guide. Irene is a tremendous, awesome outdoors person. She's very knowledgeable, history in her area. She brings you hunting, some fishing, a little bit of everything. She's fantastic. And she is a tremendous supporter. If you go and support her and watch her content, she will return that 100-fold. I promise you. Definitely try to get the field guide. We got Reservoir Dog Outdoors popping in. Hey, good to see you. Absolutely. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you're doing good on this Wednesday evening. Yeah, you're fishing against local guides, James. That makes it tough for sure. For sure. Okay, so channel shout out number 1 was the field guide. Number 2 channel shout out is Bar Run Forge. He's a super guy, and he does really cool metalworks, blacksmithing in his shop. He creates some really cool stuff. He's a super guy, and again, that support thing. If you're watching his content, if you're supporting him, leaving comments, and doing it the right way, then he's gonna support you back 100-fold. Bar Run Forge. If you don't have him, look him up. Get him. Go ahead and check it out. You know, only subscribe if that's something that you find interesting. But I'm telling you what, he's a supporter 100%. He's the real deal. For these channels that I mentioned in the shout outs, once I'm done with this, I can edit the description, I will put in links for these channels. Channel number 3 is M&K Outdoors. He stopped in earlier. Again, part of that support. He's part of the community. Mike and Kaylee are awesome. They go on fishing adventures together. They bring a lot of enthusiasm and fun to their channel, and it's great. And again, that support thing, 100-fold. Great channel. If you don't have M&K Outdoors, you need to get them. You definitely need to get them. It's out the trapping videos. Damn Davis. Fantastic. Okay, we got Collins Country. This is a new supporter to me, and I'm new to her channel. But she's got an awesome channel. And again, it's all about that support. She showed me support. I'm showing her support. And now I'm doing a channel shout out for her. So Collins Country, if you don't have that channel, look into them, check them out, subscribe if you like what they got. Okay, the last channel, a lot of folks that are in this community that you know and love, Boxy Outdoors, right? Todd, he's a tremendous guy. He does his channel showcases on his lives every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. If you don't have Boxy Outdoors, check out Boxy Outdoors. Todd is awesome. He brings you hunting, fishing, trapping, all kinds of great outdoor stuff, man. And tremendous supporter of other YouTubers. So yeah, we love Boxy Outdoors. He's in Western Pennsylvania over near Pittsburgh, maybe. I don't know. Maybe an hour south of, I don't know. He's not that far from Pymatuning Reservoir. Pymatuning Lake. It's a lake. It's not Pymatuning Lake. It's on the border between Ohio and Pennsylvania. He and I might do a collab mid to late July, and do a muskie trip on Pymatuning. I haven't locked that in, but that's fine off the hook. I haven't locked that in, but I'm going this weekend to the YouTube rendezvous, and I'll be chit-chatting with him. So we might lock that in for mid to late July. So we'll see. I'm going to be over there July 15th and 18th, but I'm not going to be towing my boat, so I don't know. We might have to make it late July. Boxy Outdoors, that was my 5th channel shout out. That's all I've got for my channel shout outs. That's all I have for tonight's live. I really appreciate you guys stopping in, checking out my channel, checking out my jibber jabber about musky do's and don'ts. I'm not a musky guru. I'm not a pro. But I'm just a guy that has a lot of enthusiasm for musky fishing. I have been doing it for a long time. I'm experienced. It's a passion of mine. I love sharing it with you guys, and to do a live and just some basic do's and don'ts, thought I would share. Again, thanks for joining me. I appreciate the support. I hope you all have a great night.